Today we're playing Legendary Encounters Alien, and we will be playing through the first film as that's where you're recommended to start really, but all four of the first films are in this one box. So we are, of course, on the Nostromo, and we have three objectives to go through to win the game. The first one is to find both parts of the SOS signal so we can drop down on LV426. This game is of course a deck builder, and this gorgeous playmat comes with the game, and it even tells you what to do in your turns, so hopefully I sure forget much stuff. But we start by placing a hive card into the complex face down. Then it's one of the player's turns. We have two characters in solo mode, and I've chosen the gunner and the merc, with the gunner going first. So here we draw 6 cards from our starting 13, and we have got ourselves 4 grunts, which give us 4 attack value, 1 specialist, which gives us 1 resource to buy cards from the market, and we also get our own specialist card here and all, which lets us draw another card, along with giving us an attack value based on the current objective. So it's now on 1, but we'll go up to 3. Using our 4 grunts and the Let's Rock card though, we scan the complex card and jammily discover part of the SOS. So that then goes into operations, and we need to find the second part. We did draw a card though and got ourselves a second specialist, which lets us buy quarantine procedures. A card which, when used to attack, lets you look at the top card and kill it, meaning you can start thinning your deck out a little bit. All the cards then go into the discard pile, and you draw 6 more from your deck after checking the strike phase to see if you take damage, but we don't at the minute, so we go on to the next player after putting another card in the complex, who gets his own card which lets him draw 1 and use recruitment points as if they were combat strikes. So we can scan the card and we end up finding an egg which we need to kill with 3 power before an event gives us a facehugger. Basically instant death for our characters if we don't deal with them. I do only have 2 recruitment points though, so we have to end our turn. The egg stays where it is, and so the next card gets put in the power station. And as the gunner only realistically has 5 points to spend, he buys a Captain of the Ship card. Suddenly, the threats start to fill up as this game moves pretty fast, and the merc can only buy himself the first aid card. The gunner though uses his quarantine and 2 grunts to kill the egg finally, looking at his own deck and killing one of his grunts also to thin it. He then buys the Expert Navigator card as it replaces the grunt pretty well. The merc scans the weapons locker but finds another sodding egg. He then buys Find It and Kill It for 4. The gunner starts off by killing the egg. He then scans the med lab and finds the second SOS, so the first objective is complete. The second objective starts immediately, and we have to block the ventilation shaft somehow. So with his last few points left to spend, he buys the first sergeant of the game. And we draw it in the reshuffle, meaning we could coordinate with our partner to gift him 2 points on his turn, but we will then have to discard it, so it will mean we are a card short in our round. Next turn though, because there are empty gaps, we have a little bit of leeway before that card gets pushed into the combat zone. But we do have bad cards with the merc, so can only buy a Captain of the Ship card. The gunner first buys the Find It and Kill It card because of the symbol on the sergeant's card. That lets him draw a card when he plays his 4 strike to reveal 2 eggs. Blooming marvellous 8, even the card he drew was a useless specialist. The card that comes into the combat zone though is a sudden event card, and suddenly crap hits the fan as the merc has to discard 2 random cards, getting rid of 2 specialists. Then 2 face huggers burst out of the eggs, and the merc will have to deal with them or else he gets a chest burster. And it turns out that the merc don't have enough strike damage to deal with both of them. He kills one of them, but the other sneaky facehugger attaches itself to him and lays its egg, meaning a chest burster is near and the gunner will be left to fight all on his own. And it's all going wrong now as we get our first hazard on the gunner's turn, which means 2 hive cards get added to the complex. Then when I spend the 5 strike because of the signal boost, I end up getting not only the second hazard, but another blooming event and all, which means not only does a xenomorph pop up in the combat zone, but the merc loses 2 specialists also, meaning this has gone from bad to worse. As we end our turn and the first strike phase happens, where the gunner receives 7 damage off his 11 health. Lucky for us though, the merc does have Ripley, so we can cancel the strike. Whew. The merc then kills the Xeno in the combat zone, and we luckily don't get the chest burster yet, but we know it's coming on the redraw. So the gunner scans the vents and discovers another Xeno, but mostly he was hoping to remove the chest burster with quarantine, and he just got a specialist instead. He then buys the navigator card, the merc then scans the vents and finds the objective. He then completes the second objective, blocking it off by spending 2, and that will no doubt be his last action for the game. Anyway, our third objective is just to kill the Xeno, and as I draw 6 new cards, it is exactly what I feared would happen. The merc collapses in pain, starts to scream on the comms to the gunner as the vents close, and a xenomorph bursts out of his chest, killing him. R.I.P. merc, R.I.P. But now it's even more bad news for us cat lovers as Jonesy enters the combat zone and instantly dies because we didn't reveal him in the complex. Oh no. Regardless, the gunner kills the shredding skin Zemo. He then scans the med lab and finds a skittering one. I then scan the airlock and boom, there's another bleeding one, typical. So I kill the skittering Xeno and then scan the power station, only to reveal another, before purchasing a motion detector card. I then kill the shedding Xeno along with a grunt because I used quarantine, purchase a sergeant card for more purchasing power. I used Let's Rock to kill the Xeno. I then used 2 grunts to discover an event which moves a Xeno from the combat zone, so I kill it off, ending my turn again, and I do feel like I've got some decent hitting power in my deck, but I just can't afford to buy any cards. He says until suddenly I get 6 in 1 go, meaning I can pick up my lucky star. Next turn though, I discover the perfect organism. Yep, the main Xeno is coming to kill me and I can't kill it without airlock controls. I do get rid of another grunt though. I then scan the 2 remaining cards and guess what? One is a tough Xeno, the other is an event, which means the perfect organism goes straight into the combat zone. Time to cack me kegs, I think. I do buy the electric prod, but we know what's coming. And it is of course a massive blow that puts us on 6 health. On my turn, all I can buy is another lucky star, and so I take 3 more damage from a contaminated puncture, putting us on 3 health. I scan the new cards hoping to find the airlock, but it only seems that I've chosen death. I do manage to buy another contamination card though for what it's worth. I do draw a close call on the strike, which is a little bit jammy for me. Ash pops up on the scan, who can't be killed unless you cooperate with another player, so he's going nowhere. And so all I'm left to do is buy yet another navigator card. Hopefully I'm still not out yet though. I just get a flesh wound, meaning I've got 2 health remaining. Knowing a Xeno auto pops into the combat zone though, I scan the station, only to find an event which brought yet another sodding Xeno into the combat swarm. I do manage to draw 1 close call, but the next 2 do end up killing me, and it's with that that the game comes to an unfortunate end. I did end up looking through the deck to see where the airlock controls were, and guess what? They were smack bang right at the bottom of the deck, so yeah, the Nostromo was doomed from the start, it seems. Regardless, I absolutely sodding love this game. This is probably one of the best deck builders I've played. It was just that right sort of difficult, as yes, it can be a little bit random, which will no doubt put people off, but I feel the card mitigation is there for multiple players, as you will get to know which cards are worth more and which characters sync well with others, as I felt the Gunner and Merc Day cooperate well enough. So I want to try out more scenarios and characters as I work my way through the 4 films, whether I film them or just play them on my own time. But this game system, I have to say, is pretty amazing. And I think it will come down to theme if you wanted to pick one up, as these are now pretty much like Rockin' Us crap. You can find them anywhere. So good luck if you want to try and find one. This one ain't even mine, it's my brother's, but I am looking at the Matrix one that is coming out pretty soon. Regardless, I hope you've enjoyed this, and thanks for watching.